Good afternoon, everyone. Being a little older than the average person that's taking this class, I should have some very wide-ranging stories to tell. But I'm going to go back to 1994. That is the year of O.J. Simpson and the White Bronco. It's the year of the Rockets' first championship title. It's also the year of Kurt Cobain and the Shotgun. It was also my junior year in high school, the year I became a mother, and also the year I became motherless. My mom was a woman of faith. She loved her church and was involved in a church activity almost every night of the week. It was Daughters of the King one night and Losing Weight Through Christ the next. She always had something going on, and when she wasn't at church, she would be at home running the Girl Scout troop or playing games with her family. When my mom died, I really feel like the world lost its best Trivial Pursuit player ever. My mom was also a generous woman. She always saw the good in people and in situations. In my wild teenage years, she loved my friends, even though we were not necessarily singing Kumbaya all night long. She would help anyone that needed it. She did a lot of outreach through the church. We spent a lot of time in my house making cookies for prisoners. She wasn't even afraid to open her home to people in need. My mom loved her children. Her dream job was to work at a daycare center, even though she had an advanced degree in something completely different. She was pregnant 8 times and ended up with 4 kids, me and my 3 older brothers. The other 4 times she was pregnant ended in a miscarriage and stillborns. She would have had more kids after me if the doctors didn't tell her to stop. She did have her little girl now, so she was happy. We also had foster kids all throughout my childhood, so sometimes we had as many as 6 kids running around the house. And she couldn't have been any happier. Let's fast forward a little bit. I got pregnant at 16, and that was long before MTV made that cool. Even though my mom would have preferred that I would have gone through college, gotten married before I got pregnant, she was happy about having her grandchild. If I had waited until I got through college, she never would have met her grandson. She loved him very much and enjoyed every minute she spent with him. She really did. At the high school, they had a little daycare center for all of us teenage moms. Brett and I rode the little short bus to school together, and everything was going around just great. And then one day I was up in my history class, and the counselor came to come and get me, and I thought it was pretty strange because in school I was usually a pretty good girl and didn't have to go to the office too often. So I got into the counselor's office, and there was Brett's dad, looking like he just rolled out of bed without even any shoes on. And I'm just thinking, what the heck is he doing up here, and why doesn't he have any shoes? And then he told me something that I was already starting to suspect, that my mom was dead, and that just set me reeling. I swear I can remember everything about that day. I remember discussing Model UN in history class. I remember walking down the deserted hallways at the school. I remember the cheerful conversation of the counselor on the way down to the office. I remember the exact route to the hospital and the music that was playing in the car. At every hospital, they have a nice little discreet room right off of the emergency room. It's got nice tissues, nice chairs, nice flowers. It's where they send people to go grieve for their family. My father was hysterical. He had never planned for having a life without my mom, and he didn't have too much time to worry about it since he ended up dying 18 months later. I remember the feel of grasping her hand one last time. C.S. Lewis said that no one ever told me grief felt so like fear. That was a scary time for all of us, and I was just a 16-year-old little girl with a little boy of my own to watch out for. For some, grief will become overpowering, like it was with my father. He simply was not able to live without her. The grief did create some, really great, strong bonds between me and my brothers. They come over to my house every Sunday, and we watch games, play games, watch TV. They listen to me give speeches. It's pretty nice. And then to quote Forrest Gump, my mama always said, you got to put the past behind you before you can move on. And it's good not to dwell on the past too much, but it's also nice to go back and remember. So now I'd like to see if anybody has any questions today. Oh, you have a question, Katie?
Yes, I do. And what was it like to be a single mother with no parents and only 16 or 17?
Well, I worked a lot. You know, I was working at the movie theater, 40 hours a week. You know, I did have my brothers, and I also had a great friend named Katie, that would be you, that would help me with my son when he was just a little baby, and your mom also helped some too. So it was, a lot of people helped me, and it was a group effort. And I think everybody did a good job because Brett's a really awesome kid.
Whoop, whoop.
Anybody else have any questions? Oh, Sophia, you have a question?
Yeah, what's your favorite memory of your mom?
There's a lot of memories. I thought about a lot of them over the last couple of days while I was writing this, but one of my best memories, I think, was just all the times that we went out camping and, you know, my mom would cook hot dogs on the camp stove, and it was pretty nice. And any other questions on that one? Okay. So I know last week on my first speech, I forgot to ask questions and record them, although you did have questions that you asked me after the recording was done. So now, if anybody has any questions about my speech from last week when we talked about traveling and kolaches and everything else? Anybody?
Oh, here, I'll ask the question. Hey, so I know you said the people that you went with didn't know anything about kolaches. Did you ever try to bring some with you and to say, here, you should try this. This is awesome.
Well, there's only one of the terminals at the airport sells kolaches at Shipley's, and I don't really think I could fit a whole bunch in my carry-on bag because it's usually filled with my computer and my purse is full of Diet Pepsi. I've looked at shipping them from the kolache factory, and it's like $100 just to ship a dozen. And although I do want to teach the world about kolaches, I don't think it's worth $100. Okay, I think that's it, unless anybody else has any other questions. Okay, thanks for your time, and I'll see you next week.
Peace out.